This is absolutely criminal.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Absolutely Criminal. I'm Andrew, and Tiffie Lou is right beside me. How are you doing, Tiffie Lou?
I'm okay.
All right. It's good to see everybody here. Renee's here. Wesley John Holmes, Bama Green Eyes, B. Lots of people here early, and Carrie, and Jenny Gacy. Welcome, everybody. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Oops. Yeah,
Right.
I always do. Later on, we're going to watch Stephanie Lazarus, her interrogation. In case you missed it, it's on our channel, part 1 of... when I found out Tiffie had never seen the interrogation before, I knew I had to show it to her. And it's an instant classic, so we're going to be doing that later. Also, Donna Adelson was in court again. So we'll take a look at that. She was in court for about 10 minutes and getting some instruction on her lawyer. And we're going to talk about Scott Peterson first, but first, comments of the day. All right. And today's comment, we just have one, but it was so epic that we thought we'd share it with y'all. Oh my gosh, now I see why Donna Adelson looks so calm and peaceful in her court appearance. It's like someone else mentioned. The run is over, all the problems are outside the prison. It's like she is relieved. No need to take care of the ungrateful daughter, whining son, and an older husband. The last few minutes of this call shows how desperately she wanted out from everything. She may have not planned to be caught, but the calm on her face after arrest appears like she did not mind getting caught after all.
Okay, I have to admit, the first time I read that comment,
Yeah.
I thought that DA meant district attorney.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh.
A different DA, yeah. Yeah, and I guess so. I mean, I don't think it's what she wanted, but it's certainly a relief of some stressors in her life, and I'm sure Harvey is a lot less stressed these days. He's got the whole Xanax bottle to himself, and just some peace and quiet for a change. So yeah. All right. Well, 2024 has been an interesting year so far, and we got a little buzz last year that Scott Peterson, you remember Scott? Rabbit?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
He was convicted in November 2004 for the murder of his wife, Lacey, and their unborn son, Connor. The prosecution at the time argued that Peterson's motive was to escape his marriage, but the Los Angeles Innocence Project, known for its work in overturning wrongful convictions, has decided to represent Scott Peterson. This decision suggests that they believe there may be new evidence or aspects of the case that warrant re-examination. According to a report by the USA Today, and not
the USA
by the
Today.
Yes, you can buy it at the Walmart. The LA Innocence Project has mentioned that new evidence supports Peterson's claim of innocence. The development could potentially lead to a reevaluation of the case or even a new trial. And his attorney, Mark Garagos, was on the news earlier, and he had this to say.
Other headlines tonight, a story and a murder case that simply will not go away. Is Scott Peterson innocent? Tonight, an exclusive interview with Peterson's high-profile lawyer who represented him during his 2004 trial. Mark Garagos is responding to the announcement by the Innocence Project, which is now reviewing the Peterson case. NBC's Audrey Assistio is with us. Audrey.
Raj and Jess, more than 20 years ago, Scott Peterson was convicted of murdering his wife. Today, the Los Angeles Innocence Project says he may be innocent, and it's now looking into his conviction. It's a move Mark Garagos says speaks volumes.
Tells you, number one, that they have vetted it. Number two, they've taken a look at this case in every which way.
Do you recognize Mark Garagos?
No, but his name sounds familiar.
I think he represented Michael Jackson at one time as well, I want to say. But he's had some high-profile clients, Scott Peterson being one of them.
And the Innocence Project nationally has a track record that is unparalleled. So it's every person who's been falsely convicted's dream is to have the Innocence Project focus their attention on their case.
Peterson had always maintained his innocence.
And I always maintained his innocence, famously at trial and after, and it's always somewhat gratifying to have, after all this time period, a outside third party confirm that.
The Innocence Project filed 4 new motions with San Mateo County Superior Court this
Renee
week.
says that he did represent Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And of course, we've got a few people chiming in about how guilty he is.
Yeah.
Can't believe this is happening.
Yeah. I think Scott's pretty guilty as well. I mean, it was, I guess, a lot of circumstantial evidence, but that's just as good as direct evidence, and especially when it adds up. But yeah, I mean, just from his behavior after she was missing alone is enough doubt.
Including a motion for DNA testing, saying that new evidence could support Scott Peterson's claims. The nonprofit's attorneys are focusing on 3 things: a burned out van found near the Peterson house in Modesto around the time Lacey disappeared, a burglary at the house across the street, and some evidence found on the shore of the bay.
Look, at one point, I would say I knew the evidence better than anybody, and that includes the Modesto Police Department and the Stanislaus County Sheriff. I saw nothing during that trial, absolutely nothing, other than what I call the character assassination module of that case, that would lead me to believe that he had committed a murder.
There are still hurdles for this new.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like Dan RASHBAUM. He wasn't watching the same case we all saw. Of course, he does know it better, but I mean, we all saw it.
Legal action, and Garagos expects it to take a while.
And I would imagine that one of the first things they do, there was a hearing, and unfortunately, the judge did not find that there did not make what I would have considered to be the obvious ruling, which would have been to grant him a new trial.
We did reach out to the Los Angeles Innocence Project, who confirms it is working on the case but declined any further comment. We also reached out to Lacey Peterson's family and have not yet heard back. Roger.
All right. I want to ask Tiffie Lou this. Do you think Scott Peterson is a good-looking man?
Yes.
And do you think it works the same with good-looking men in these kinds of cases? Do you think they have an advantage as maybe some good-looking women do?
Not as much of an advantage as good-looking women, because good-looking women can also sway the thoughts of other women, where I think good-looking men make men feel threatened.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you were interviewing a good-looking guy, you want him to be guilty, don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Guilty or at least gay.
Whereas if a really attractive, together, or somebody who looks like they're together woman is appealing to me and telling me we have the same interest in clothes, I can understand why a woman could be swayed that way. But it wouldn't work that way the other way around.
No, it's a much more competition thing with men and other good-looking men,
Bama doesn't find him hot. Sorry, we're going to have to stand on disagreement. I think he's pretty good looking, even now, even older. I think he's even good. He's good
even
now.
After all this time in prison.
Yeah, he's maintained his haircuts and whatever you do in there.
All right. Well, speaking of good-looking prisoners, Donna Adelson is had a day in court yesterday. And the judge basically wanted to talk to her about Dan RASHBAUM, and wanted to let her know, some things that she had to know as far as his conflict of interest, potentially with representing Charlie and maybe being called as a witness. So we'll take a look at her day in court, and let's see. Come on, where'd you go? That's a whole lot of nothing. All right. Well, entertain the folks, Tiffie Lou.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Tracy says good-looking men look good, whether they're heavy or thin, and Scott isn't good-looking as a chubby man.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. Okay, you know what? That whole like 5 o'clock shadow thing he was rocking there for a minute wasn't becoming. But I'm just saying the guy does clean up nice.
He does.
Okay, plain and simple.
I'll give him that.
I don't. Does that do I find him attractive on any other level? No, because he's a murderer, and that's freaking scary as shit.
Yeah, the ugliness comes from the inside.
Yes, exactly.
No matter, like Jodi Arias, I don't care how good looking she is on the outside. That ugliness comes from inside. So here's Donna Adelson.
Ooh, Debbie's got the hots for you.
All right.
Bald
and a mustache and goatee, please.
There's my man.
I have like 3 of those 4 things covered.
Stay at distance, Dennis. Okay?
All right. Well, on to another good-looking prisoner. She was back in the day, back when she was on Wheel of Fortune. She was quite fetching. But here is.
Okay. She honestly cleans up well. She wears her hair nice generally. But
she does.
Her prison look is not becoming.
No, I know. But, you know, as far as being in prison, you know, a lot of times their hair is all like dumpy and flat, but she
looks like she's, you know, doing a little scrunching business, doing something to fluff it up a little bit.
Right. She's not wearing the turtle suit anymore. You know, she's being afforded regular clothing.
She does look way different without makeup than she does with makeup.
Yeah.
You know, like way different.
Still though, for 73.
She looks 73.
73. Yep. All right. Well, here she is.
Good morning, Miss Adelson. Are you capable of hearing me?
Yes, I am.
All right. In the courtroom with me this morning is your counsel and also counsel for the state. I'm just going to ask at this time for all non-parties to this hearing not to speak or interfere with the business of the court.
Shout out to Dan RASHBAUM. Call 1-800-THE-BOMB. 1-800-THE-BOMB.
I'll allow the attorneys to make their appearances at this time.
Sarah Catherine Dugan for the state.
Good morning, Dan RASHBAUM on behalf of Mrs. Adelson.
I'll allow both parties to provide any update that they wish, but I did have some matters that I wanted to raise also during this hearing today.
Okay, I got to say something.
Concerning.
He seems pretty straightforward guy.
He's pretty buttoned up, this judge. Yep.
Yeah. Which could just be how he presents himself in general. But he looks like he thinks she's guilty.
I don't know what that looks like.
He looks like, great. Now I got to listen to Dan talk and we know she's guilty.
Yeah. Well, remember, he had to admonish her on her first appearance.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She got schooled already.
When she was rolling her eyes and all this stuff. Had to say, Miss Adelson, that's not cool.
Wesley says, I won't go as far as to say Donna's hot, but she's presentable for a court appearance.
She is presentable for a court appearance.
Pretty good. Yeah, especially since she's not even there in person.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. I mean, as court appearances go, this is not the worst.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Discovery that's been turned over to the defense. Are there any new or additional matters that have yet not been turned over at this point?
Not that I know of. I know that Mr. RASHBAUM had an issue receiving something via OneDrive and was going to get a copy of a hard drive today from our office. So it's ongoing.
Right. Mr. RASHBAUM, with regard to your review of this discovery, obviously you need to get everything the state needs to turn over. But is your review as such where we're going to need another case management in the next few months, or do you think we're in a position to start talking trial dates?
Okay, so before Rashi gets going, I took another look at his interview he did with Surviving the Survivor.
The one we watched
the other day. Yeah, the one we watched clips of. Because I don't know. I don't know whether I was giving him the benefit of the doubt or what, but I thought he did a better job than he actually came across as. I can see where some people thought that he was being a little.
So you've got a new set of eyes over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to go back and take another look at it, but yeah, I don't know. Some of his answers about specifically whether he talked to Donna or not, advising her to flee to Vietnam and
his answers were non-answers, though. We already kind of covered.
I mean,
that.
He can't really answer those things, but I think there's still something missing from the story as far as what the relationship is with RASHBAUM and the Adelsons.
Oh, Debbie says you couldn't pay me to watch Rashi again on that interview.
All right. Sounds like a challenge. Yeah. He was, he's an interesting guy. I don't think it went as good as he thought it went for him, though.
No.
It seemed like the deeper he got in that interview, the more he thought he nailed it. And I don't think he nailed it as far as he thought.
Judge,
He didn't get nailed.
He didn't get nailed.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'd ask for a case management sooner, maybe in 3 weeks. I think we'll have a better idea then. The state's been working diligently with us on the discovery. But I think we'll have a better idea in the next 3 weeks or so.
Okay. Ms. Adelson, there is a matter that I am going to have to address with you as well.
This is where it gets juicy.
Yeah.
Conflicts that would be related to your counsel in this representation. I'm going to need to swear you in and take some brief testimony from you. And from there, I'll continue with the attorneys. Please raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
You can lower your hand.
It's interesting. Some say the whole truth and nothing but the truth, but the truth just kind of...
Yeah, you don't need to say the whole thing. Eh? Yeah.
Adelson, do you understand under the Constitution you have the right to conflict-free representation?
I do.
As it relates to your current attorney, Mr. RASHBAUM, representing you, you understand that he has certain duties as it relates to his prior representation with your son?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand.
You understand his prior duty of confidence that he must maintain under the rules of professional responsibility in some way could affect your representation?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you also understand in deciding whether or not to waive any conflict concerning this matter, you have the right to obtain independent counsel on that matter?
I do, Your Honor.
Have you been able to discuss with independent counsel whether or not you waive any conflicts as it relates to the prior representation of your son?
I have, Your Honor.
And are you in fact waiving any such conflicts?
I am, Your Honor.
There is a second issue as well as it relates to the rules of professional responsibility.
I mean, this just doesn't seem like a good start to your court case when the judge has to make sure that okay, so this could happen and that could happen.
And are you aware of that?
Right. And then it just gets better with this.
For attorneys, there's another prohibition within them that deals with the matter of an attorney possibly being a witness in a case. I do not know if the state would seek to call your attorney as a witness for any matter. However, you understand an attorney cannot be both advocate and witness in the same case.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Do you understand as well if the state attempted to call your attorney for any reason that could materially affect your defense?
I understand.
Do you also understand you have the right to obtain independent counsel to assist you in making the decision as to whether or not you wish to waive this conflict, or even potential of conflict, I should say?
Yes, I'm aware of that, Your Honor.
And do you waive this potential conflict as well?
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you for the super sticker. We love you. Thank you.
Do.
Mr. RASHBAUM, do you wish there to be any further inquiry as it would pertain to Lazarus versus State?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Adelson. That will conclude all testimony that I will need from you today. Does the defense have anything that it wishes to raise?
And that was pretty much it. Well, that was it for Donna's participation, but there wasn't much else to go over. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Tiffie Lou? Not starting off on the best of.
I know.
On the best
Gosh,
of
if I
footing.
were her, I would start looking for a new lawyer already.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, at this point, I'd be scared.
I mean, she on her first day, she had that Ms. Descalzo. I don't know what the deal was with her. You know, why she. I don't know. I think there's more to this story than meets the eye about why their relationship with Rashy Boy, but that's just pure speculation.
Right.
So hopefully, you know, these things will come out in the wash. Yep.
We will see.
All right.
I like the judge, though.
I do.
I like him a lot.
Stephen Everett seems like a no nonsense guy. And he has a pleasant voice. Okay. So speaking of pleasant voices, Stephanie Lazarus, I introduced Tiffie Lou to this phenomenon.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd only heard of her. I hadn't seen any of this, and I didn't even really know what she looked like.
Right there she is.
So this is kind of new to me.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting watching it with you too, because there's always new things to see in this interrogation. And obviously the Steve Perry lookalike thing. I never.
Oh, Sherry, I love you.
That's
she
right.
is hardcore.
That
over
just
there.
never really occurred to me before, but spot on, got to admit. So when last we left Steffers, let's see, she was checking her pictures, but she was oh gosh, what is she doing?
She's breaking every rule of interrogation.
She's breaking every rule.
I mean, like,
they asked her.
You'd think she wasn't a cop.
Right.
Know?
Yeah, she's having these human behaviors that cops look for when they're under stress, but she can't help it. I mean, she's just having it. You know, it's just happening. This lady can make so many funny ass faces.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she's got about 18 different faces that she makes throughout this this interview. So let's see what's going on here.
Maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Do you remember the first name?
Yeah. Okay. So they're
It's
asking.
just so funny that she already freely shared what a slut she used to be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, she nailed half of the fire
with
department.
This guy, and then there was then his twin brother, and I'm like, whoa.
Made her way up and down the fire team, the softball team, and all the other teams in.
Her name at
town.
the station was Stephanie Lazarus.
Lazarus, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. So, yeah, here we go. They were asking her if she remembers Shelley's first name, and this is her response.
Shelly, Sherry.
You should have said Sherry first.
Yeah, Sherry.
You don't say the right name first and act like you don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know something, maybe, you know, like I said, it's been so many years, and
from all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her? Just
well, I said earlier, you know, I mean, I may have, you know, I may have talked to her. You know.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, you already said that.
That's right.
You said that, yeah, she worked at the hospital. That's where you talked to her. You already said that.
The night where she got all gussied up and went and confronted Sherry in the hospital. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I may
ring
have.
A bell.
You know, I'm thinking back now. You guys are bringing up all these whole memories.
No, it kind of dusts off the cuff.
You know, I mean, geez. I'm thinking that because I mean, we would date. He would date other people. I would date other people, and
yeah, we heard.
I think, you know, at one point, I mean, he may have been dating her, or I don't know, maybe he was married. I don't even remember. And I'm like, you know what? Why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame. And I'm like, come on, knock it off. And now I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what? Is he dating you? He's bothering
You may have. This is a conversation I would remember. If I had to approach somebody's wife and say, your husband's been hitting on me, I would remember that forever.
Right.
It wouldn't be like, gee, if I could I think we had a conversation about this, maybe.
I mean, this kind of crazy jealousy, it feels familiar, but then I remember it was like in high school when I was having these kinds of feelings.
Happy 2 months estranged.
Oh.
She's gone green.
All right.
She's gone green.
All right.
Me, and so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that. 1 or 2, maybe. It could have been 3. I don't want to say I had 3 conversations with her.
Like at her work or at their house.
Yeah.
Or...
No, I'm thinking that he obviously must have told me where she worked. I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in LA, and I could have been. Again, what year was that? Where was I working?
Yeah, if somebody was giving Stephanie an answer like this, she would totally know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
You know? Those eyeballs, man.
I'm trying to think of where.
That's the look on your face when you realize you're fucked. When
did you say they got married?
I don't know. I think it was
they didn't
in 85 or 86 or something like that. We just kind of picked this up. We don't know a lot about it.
Liars.
Yeah.
And she's got to know he's lying.
Why is it that every cop in the interrogation room just picked this file up and they don't know anything about anything?
They've already called you in here. They didn't just pick this
I don't
up.
know. I'm just getting coffee for the main detectives, so they just wanted me to keep you company.
I mean, I could have been working in Hollywood, it sounds like, if that's where I was working. So I could have said, okay, well, and I went and talked to her, and just said, hey, you know what, if he's dating you, he keeps calling me, why don't you tell him to knock it off or whatever, and, because I probably would have told him to knock it off.
You would have told John.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would have said, hey, and again.
But you wanted to tell her too? You wanted them both to know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you wanted to tell. It just doesn't. Yeah. I mean, we know she's full of shit, of course, but that just doesn't seem like something.
That face, man.
A person. Yeah. She has like the best freeze frames, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting her called, and I'm faintly remembering when Scott moved in with me in 1993.
Wesley's right. I've said this before. I can't believe she's still talking. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, we're like a half an hour in.
I know. Why are you
point.
spilling your guts? Get yourself a freaking lawyer and shut up.
Yeah, I want my union rep, and then it's all over.
Sometime in 93, because I met Scott in April of 92. I was teaching DARE up in Oregon. And he moved down. In fact, he may have moved down in 92. 92 or 93. There was a big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? No, 94.
94, yeah.
So
Northridge.
I think Scott might have moved in 93. Sometime in 93. Excuse me. I haven't had my breakfast yet. And so, excuse me.
You got a little gassy there this morning.
And so I faintly recall that John may have called a few times, and I'm like, hey, I've got. He goes, oh, can you talk or something? I'm like, no, I can't talk. I've got, I'm living with somebody.
Right.
And that could have been a few times. It could have been once. It could have been twice. It could have been 3 times. I don't know.
And that's during the period of time of the earthquake that you're.
Well, no, probably after Scott moved in. I think I met Scott in April of 92.
Oh, okay, right before.
April of 92, because I stopped teaching DARE.
Her nervousness is making her
start to
gassy.
Yeah.
As she swallows each lie.
Certainly seems like it. She's swallowing a lot of air too. You know?
Sometime in '92.
And when you say that you may have, that you talked to his wife, said, hey, I don't know if it was, I guess it wasn't his wife at that time, girlfriend or whatever. And
yeah, I don't know if it was his wife or his girl. I mean, quite honestly, I don't even remember.
When you said like, hey, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you. I mean, was that civil? Was there? I mean,
no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. If the conversation lasted a few minutes, I can't even remember. And what is it like? We went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no like arguments or fights
I don't think
it didn't
so.
get heated or anything like
Not
that.
that I recall.
Look at that face.
That's a pretty good one.
No, I mean, I would think that would stand out. I would think. Now, again, that's not standing out in my mind.
So you didn't have any problem?
When does she ask for a lawyer?
Oh, not for quite a while.
Holy crap.
Not until it's too late. I mean, it's already too late with the DNA they have and whatever, but yeah.
Problems with her then?
No.
You didn't have any issues with her?
She got a whiff. Yeah, certainly looks like it.
Ooh, it's really nice.
But let me ask you. It seems like you didn't have any issue. Now, did she have an issue with you as far as because now you're telling her, hey, tell them to stop calling. Now, she's like, hey, you figure she'd be threatened by you.
I don't know. I mean,
from what you remember as far as when you.
Not until the cuffs are on. That's a long time. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's true. Yep.
Talk to her. Maybe you didn't take it as serious, but maybe did she? Maybe she was bugging.
I mean, like, was she throwing things at me or something, or?
Well, no, just as far as you're trying to explain, like, hey, have them stop calling me. Stop playing games.
I tell you, if the conversation, I couldn't even tell you how long the conversation. If you said, did it last a half an hour? Did it last 3 minutes? Did it last 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago.
You just remember talking to her, telling her.
Yeah, and that's why you said how many times you talked to her. I don't know how many times I talked to her. Maybe it was once, maybe it was twice, maybe it was 3 times. I honestly don't know.
Right.
I don't know what year it was. If he said I met her in such and such year, I'd go, okay, well, I don't even know what year you met her. I graduated from UC in 1982. Okay.
And you said, Tiffie Lou, you don't think she's thought about this since
No,
pretty much back in the day, right?
I think because if you think about it, she's a cop.
Mm-hmm.
She probably could fake or obtain some kind of access to what's being held from that crime.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about when DNA technology came out, she would have learned about it.
Taken that at that time years ago, and it would be gone.
Yeah.
And she didn't think about it.
No, you figured she
thought
had,
so much time has passed. I'm clear.
Yeah.
And I'm a cop.
And
they're not going to look at a cop.
If they even save those samples, they're probably just lost. And if I remember right, it was a bite mark impression that did her in. I mean, that's where they found the DNA.
She bit Shelley?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I graduated in 82. Like I said, I don't know if he graduated. I know he was a little older than I was, so I don't know if he graduated a year before or 2 years before, because people are on different, either
enjoy watching these videos with you and everyone. Feeling a little less
lonely.
Oh,
well, we are your family, your true crime.
Yeah, we love watching these with everyone too. We would be doing this anyway, so we're glad you're here.
On the 4-year program or the 5-year program.
What year did you come on the job?
83.
Oh, so almost pretty much immediately after you got out of school?
Yeah, I worked at a law firm for a year, and then came on the job. But anyway, in regards to seeing him, not seeing him, we went to friends' weddings that were, from UCLA. I may have gone to some of his friends' weddings from where he worked. He may have gone to things with me,
Who knows? It was like a million years ago. Thank gosh
that she bit her. They wouldn't have the DNA.
Yeah, Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank goodness she couldn't control herself.
I mean, I don't know how many times we went to do things, you know.
Picturing like a
Or did
Hannibal situation, you know?
Right. And I wonder if she just
What?
forgot about that even, you
That
know,
she
like,
better.
do things.
Right.
Like I said, his sister, I know his sister, his brother, his sister I know stayed at my townhouse a number of times. I couldn't tell you how many times.
Right.
I would watch his brother, you know, I should take pictures at a basketball game or two.
Where was your town?
She remembers all this about his sister, his brother, but not his wife that was murdered.
Townhouse at?
In Granada Hills, below the Odyssey.
I don't know the valley.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 405 and the 5. The 405, the 405 turns into the 5, the 118. They came down in the earthquake.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And you're saying when you went to see her, would you remember if it was at her house or?
She bit off more than she could chew. Yeah.
At the place she worked at?
No, I'm thinking that it was probably, for some reason I want to say that the hospital seemed that, you know, if you say he got married in 85 or something, I'm thinking that, you know, maybe the hospital was on my way to work in Hollywood. I mean, that's kind of sounding familiar.
Would you have gone on duty?
Oh, no, I'm sure I wouldn't have. No, I'm pretty good about not doing stuff.
Oh.
You know, I mean.
She's pretty good about not doing stuff.
No, I'm not saying that, you know, you haven't done stuff on duty, but I would have. I mean, I would have been working with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I wouldn't think. I mean, I try to avoid doing stuff on duty.
Oh,
so.
So you would have gone. If it was en route to work, you more than likely would have gone to her work and had this discussion with her.
I mean, that's sounding familiar. I mean, that's now that you guys are bringing this stuff up. I mean, that sounds familiar. But again, I mean, you know, what's this got to do with me dating him and, you know, her getting killed? I mean,
you know what it has to do with you.
Right. What is this?
They're on to you, dude.
Why
they
are we
know.
here?
You're here years later because they know.
Yeah.
You know, she's got to know that they know.
Yeah, there's no other
Right?
reason that she would be called into a room like this, and she has to know she was duped a little bit because they.
Did you hear this? Didn't she report her pistol missing or stolen days later?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Really?
that's right. Yep.
Huh.
I don't have anything to do with it. And you got something that's somebody said, you know, whatever. I mean.
Well, like we said, we just literally got this the other day, and you're going through it.
Yeah.
And you see
and you saw me say,
your
oh,
name.
it's next door.
Right. And so, you know, I mean, obviously it's like we recognize the name and we know that, you know, you work next door to us. And so we're trying to get some background. We're trying to figure this out. I mean, this is from a long time ago.
Oh, I know. And
you know, and things have been kind of slow for us. And so, you know, Chief Beck has said, hey, you know, I want you guys working. I don't want you just sitting around reading the paper.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my gosh, this is such crap. It's like saying, well, it's slow, so I decided to mop again. You know, give me a break.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, they had a stack of cold cases, you know, and it was probably a surprise to them. They run the DNA, and of course she's in the system because she's a cop. She's got her fingerprints, her DNA, you know, so it was probably a surprise.
Kind of pushing some older cases out even to the guys that work active cases because, you know, and so we see this and we're just like, oh, well, you know, we want to talk to you about it, but of course the only reason we did it here is because we're getting into some pretty personal stuff in your relationship.
You know, my husband's on the job, and we've been
so
married.
We don't want to take the risk. We don't want to take the risk when one of those interview rooms, and even when the door closed, someone's going to get supplies and sees us on a monitor, or hears or whatever.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate it. Like I said,
that's where people go when there's orals. You know, when they're doing orals, guys will go in there and try and watch. And like, what are the answers to the questions? You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we just want to afford you the most privacy and confidentiality we could.
No, I appreciate it. And like I said, I mean, this goes way back, and I mean, it was very sad. You know, obviously, I haven't, you know, when we were in college, some of us would go down to his house in San Diego. I went down to his house with him, you know, with him. And I know I'm trying to think of some other people that may have gone down.
Is that where he grew up? Is down there?
Yeah, down in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
I know his dad was a professor at San Diego State. I don't know if he still is. I don't know what happened to his sister. Don't know what happened to his brother.
So you guys were close.
Yeah, well, we lost touch after the murder.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure his dad's probably retired by now. He was, I think, older, even back then.
Right.
And I can't even tell you the last time I had any contact with any of them. It's been so long.
Did he tell you what happened? Like what he heard from the detectives or the police or?
Oh, this is going to take forever now. Gosh, I don't know. Let's see.
You know what? He may have.
He may have done a lot.
For some reason, I'm thinking that, I mean, again, this is like drugs or something. I mean, I think I faintly remember him mentioning something maybe about cocaine.
That she was involved with that?
You know, I don't know that he said she was involved or they thought she was. You know, again, it's been so long. He could have mentioned, he could have told me the whole story of what happened. And I mean,
and I just wouldn't remember.
Right. But that's a weird thing to say.
But I'm faintly remember either between him or the flyer.
The bulletin. Remember a bulletin?
The bulletin.
Came through?
Yeah. We have evening sermons on Wednesday.
That there was some kind of a burglary. You know.
Let me ask you, did the detectives ever reach out?
That's a good question. I wonder how many other things she did that was crooked while she was a cop all those years.
Yeah, right. I mean,
then murder's a big one. But what other things?
Yeah, if she could hide that, then there's no telling, really.
Yeah.
No one's ever talked to me. I don't think anybody ever talked to me about him.
It seems like back then you would have been.
Well, I take. I'm thinking that I did talk to a detective. God. Well, what division was it?
In Van Nuys?
And where was I working?
This is your story. You tell us. Okay.
1986.
I would have been working in Devonshire. You know, I'm thinking that I did speak to somebody.
Oh, really?
I couldn't tell you who it was.
Because it doesn't say anything.
He was probably on the phone.
Okay.
There was a pretty big earthquake in 1986 too out here, wasn't there?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Wesley John Holmes. Thank you. Australian
oh my
dollars
gosh,
too.
And a bright sun. We are in love with you guys tonight.
Thanks, y'all.
Would have been somebody in regards to this, or just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you said a name, if I would remember it, because I worked Van Nuys for a while.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked.
Detectives patrol?
No, worked detectives. When did I go to Van Nuys? I worked Devonshire till '88. Then I went to Dare till '92. I worked twice at Van Nuys.
Both as detective?
Yeah. Sometime in the '90s. Yeah, I know before I busted my leg up, I was there in '98, because that year sticks out because I had a really bad leg injury. And I was there prior to that, but I couldn't tell you what year. It was just a few years. I made detective, I think, in '93. So I was at Van Nuys, and then I went back, and then I had a leg injury, and then they transferred me to Devonshire because I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive very far with my bad leg injury. So, but yeah, I think I talked to somebody.
Would you remember any of the conversation as far as what they were looking for? Or?
Couldn't say. I mean,
that cop is on the. Okay, yeah. Okay. I want to make sure I wasn't hearing that outside. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. There's a siren in the background.
Okay.
That sounded like it was coming from everywhere.
May have told me. I said, hey, you know, I went to school with him. Either somebody called me or I saw the fly. I may have seen the flyer at that point, and I called up. If someone's name was on the flyer, I may have called to speak to them. I said, hey, if there's anything I can do, you know, call me. This is where
Right, Sparkles.
They're after us.
Yeah. Hide. Close
Yep.
your browsers.
Look busy.
Work, you know, I went to, school with them. Couldn't say. I couldn't tell you who it was.
But you do remember that someone you think reached out to you?
You mean a detective?
Yeah, called you up and talked to you.
Or I called them, one of the two. But yeah, I remember talking to somebody, but I'm thinking it was a man. I'm sure there's probably more men back then.
Yeah, probably
Right.
more.
I bet.
Right.
You made me snort.
So again, that's really all I can remember about that.
Yeah.
When's her parole due? We keep seeing this question pop up.
Oh, well, she's already been recommended parole by the board.
Do you think it'll be approved?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Let me look it up here.
Let me get back to as far as when you
just
said
asked her.
that John was calling you to see you, and during that time you felt that he was either seeing her, was he engaged or married? Did you know?
Couldn't say.
You don't remember?
I don't know.
Would he ever?
Well, let's see. My husband.
Did it ever appear?
Well, no.
Yeah, last month, parole officials concluded that Stephanie Lazarus, who was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison, is eligible for parole. And Rasmussen's relatives are outraged that the woman who hid the truth about the murder and continued to work as a law enforcement officer for more than 20 years could go free. She's 63, incarcerated still southeast of Los Angeles. They said in the first interview about the decision, the family said she did not apologize to relatives and appeared to downplay the seriousness of the crime.
Wow.
Yeah, saying that she hadn't intended to kill Sherry when she went to the Van Nuys condo. It just kind of happened, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that would
Alabama
be-
says 2034 should be eligible again. So just like what, every 10 years basically, or
Yeah,
11?
sounds like it. So I guess, yeah.
Scott moved in '93, so that would have been, you said 86 or 85 or something.
Scott's your only husband? You've never been married?
No, never been married. I got married in, I think, 96. Well, no, I got married in 90.
Yeah, it says the decision from the parole panel is not final. It's subject to review by the full board in 120 days. That's coming up pretty soon. And the governor has 30 days to weigh in on the finalized decisions. The governor still has to sign off on it.
96, but he moved in 93.
But during that time that you were seeing John, was he acting kind of squirrely or kind of sneaking around when he'd hook up with you or anything like that to make you think, hey,
He probably was. I mean,
she'll take a look at me, sweetie. Of course he was.
The impression I get is you've known him a long time.
Well, let's see.
From what?
I met him in 78. No, I met him in school. I started UCLA in 78.
So you know him well during that period of time.
Oh, come on. You boinked him for years.
Yeah.
You already admitted that.
Still, though, just 8 years after she met him, she kills his wife.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, was he acting squirrely? I don't even remember where he was living then.
Well, after.
I don't.
Well, let me ask you. After he hooked up with.
I mean, if he was living on Roscoe or wherever else he was living.
Right.
Well, after he hooked up with Sherry, do you know where they were living?
No, you asked me that already. And I said, well, obviously they were living in Van Nuys division.
Yeah.
Don't get testy with them. This is Stephanie.
You know why they're asking you twice, Pumpkin.
I may have known. I mean, did he ever give me the address? Maybe. I don't remember. I mean, I don't know.
Because the only reason I'm asking you again is because as we've been talking, I know some stuff has come to you because you're like, oh, it seems like you're shaking. So that's why I'm asking if you've ever been to the house.
And when you said Van Nuys division,
my eyes just popped out of my head.
I'm just, I'm sure he could have told me. I mean, he could have told me. He could have told me where he lived.
I wonder where in Van Nuys. Isaiah used to live in Van Nuys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, not too far from where we
let's
are.
just check the neighborhood and see.
You ever gone there?
I don't think I've ever gone there. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say, no, I've never gone there, and then you say, oh, I was at a party. Because I don't, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got these friends. We have parties. My house, their house. I just don't think John ever came to. Again, at one point, because we knew people from school together. I knew different people. He knew different people. I knew people that he knew from his work. That lived in the valley.
So as far as for social events or anything, I mean, you're not sure if you ever been to the house because.
I wonder if the burping is a telltale for her.
Maybe she has a nervous stomach.
Yeah. I mean, like everybody has kind of something that they do, and I wonder if the anxiety, is the problem.
Makes her
here.
gassy.
Yeah, and so she's burping all the time, and she's lying all the time.
Yep, that's quite possible.
But it's safe to say that would have been the only time, like for something social.
Yeah, if I went there for something social, yeah.
Okay.
I mean...
Because I know you went to talk to her at the hospital regarding this issue with John. To, kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey...
Interesting. Your ex yawns when he lies. What do you do when you lie? Tell me.
I'm sure you know better than anyone what I do when I lie. But I feel like I have to yawn right now.
Yeah, because somebody said yawn. That tipped you off.
You know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would, and I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. He lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I mean, I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe. I may have met her there.
Who can say, Tiffie Lou? Who can say about these things? I mean,
that's an interesting point. Notice where her head is in regards to the light switch when she first sat down. Starts out high near the top of the switch. She keeps getting lower and lower in the seat, so she is shrinking.
Oh yeah, she is sinking down.
Fear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good observation, Ken. Thanks for the kind words.
I mean.
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, I mean, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, "Hey, pick" or something, back
That's
then. I can't say that we ever screamed or it's. I mean, he was a pretty mellow guy. I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating or And I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys, and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey, man, it's my man, you leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff?
Of course you'd remember that.
Yeah, and she's squiggling further and further,
Look how low
closer
she is
to the
now.
ground.
Yep.
And would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh,
Gosh.
It's been so long ago. I mean, that's not ringing a bell.
Because the times I've seen you around at our office,
I'm crazy.
But you're always kind of like real. I mean, you seem kind of bubbly.
Oh, people think I'm really hyper. But I can get upset, and then I forget 5 seconds later. You know how guys razz you and you go, I mean, I've done that in the office.
Wait, what?
Well, you know how guys razz you, Tiffie Lou, and then you go, ah!
Oh.
But it's like,
Right.
and then I'm, I mean, people
Water
think,
under the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people think I'm crazy, and then they think I'm crazy at home, and I'm, you know, I'm a hyper person at work.
Good
you know,
point, bright son. Yeah, she could remember every fight she was in.
Yeah.
She could remember killing someone, I'm sure.
Yeah, she remembers a lot of details about
She's saying like she doesn't remember what she would have said to her, what she talked to her about specifically. Bullshit.
Right. Yeah, but
You
then
planned everything.
She can remember the whole fire team that, you know.
I enjoy my job. I get excited. I enjoy the job. I've always enjoyed the job.
Well, you got a good gig, so.
You know.
She had it. Yeah. These were, I don't want to spoil it for you, Tiffie Lou, but I'm sure most people know this, like, she doesn't see the outside world again after this. I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Some people are thinking she might get out.
Oh, well, now she might, but
you mean in this
right.
scenario, in this moment, right here? Oh,
from
I
this
see.
moment up until now, she's been
see.
incarcerated.
I see. Okay.
So, you know, I don't know. It's like I said, this stuff's been so long ago.
Pretty smart of them to have her disarmed as well, being in the jail. You know, she had to leave her gun at the desk. I mean, she's kind of unhinged. Who knows?
You know, I'm sure as soon as I walk out of here, I'll go, oh, shoot, 25 things I'll remember, you know.
But you'll call us, or I mean, you'll just come over to our desk
yeah,
and tell us.
Scott, that sounds absolutely terrifying.
What did he say?
I got caught lying today, and I stared into their eyes smiling. Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, you got to go for it.
Oh, dear God.
May as well go for it.
I don't know what else you need to know. Like I said, you know, we knew friends together. A lot of the friends that, you know, that we socialized in the dorms, I would say, I mean, there was a group of us that we were all really close. I mean, even this one guy I was thinking of, you know, Diana Basta. We were all really close. I haven't talked to her in a million years.
Diana Basta being a friend of you and John's, or?
Yeah, we all lived on the dorms.
Yeah, remember there's those two Dianes. There's Smita.
Yeah, the one Diane that no one talks to, and she doesn't come to anything. But there were two,
right?
And it's just like, okay.
With a couple of guys that are dying from cancer.
No.
Or is there just one guy?
It's just one guy's dying from liver cancer. Another one died already.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Together. I don't know if she lived on the same. I'm trying to think. I know John lived on our floor because his roommate was Dave Newman. Dave Newman now is a big shot.
Yeah, that fucking Dave Newman.
Whatever, movie producer, director, something. I don't know.
Oh.
And that was John's roommate.
Yeah,
oh,
and
okay.
then the guys that lived across from me, Jim Jaskell and Roy. Sakaboo, something like that.
Spell it for me, please.
Yeah. Roy Sakaboo. Like I said, I would like to track down everybody she mentions in this interview and ask them where they were when they heard that she was locked up for murder.
Right.
And if it made sense to them. If they're like, yeah, that's about right.
They lived across from me. Diana Basta, I don't know if she lived on our floor. Maybe she was the RA. Diane Sherman, because I still remain friends with Diane Sherman. Not that I'm not friends with the other people, I just don't see them.
Yeah, I mean, she can remember all these details.
But
it's just not believable that she's only struggling with, gosh, I don't know, maybe I did, you know?
Right.
And so in a couple minutes, we're coming up on 1 hour here, and we'll leave off and then do one more part on this. And again, if you want to see part 1 of Tiffie Lou learning about Stephanie Lazarus, see, because I'm jealous. Sometimes I wish I could watch these things again for the first time.
Like your virginity?
Yeah. Like I wish I could lose my Stephanie Lazarus virginity all over again. And when I'm watching it with you, it's kind of like...
it's nice that I can bring that gift.
Yeah. You're a real giver, Tiffie Lou.
I am.
And we'll do the same thing with Russell Martin. Russell Martin? You know, the Canadian dude that liked underwear. Russell. Is it Russell Martin? Why do I always get... It's Russell.
Okay, we're talking about her.
Smita, Sally, Kathleen. You know, so we were all on the floor. I mean, some of them were athletes, some of them weren't. You know, I said John played basketball, his brother played basketball. I played basketball at UCLA for 2 years. One of the
Williams.
Russell Williams. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bama. Yes.
girls swam on the team. One was on the crew team. So we all did stuff together.
It looks like everybody gave you the.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like,
sorry,
Russell.
scrolling back up. I'm like, oh, it looks like you're not the only one. Okay.
Russie, Rizzo.
And then I'd say after we all graduated, we went to weddings. You know, I went to weddings.
But Sherry wasn't part of this circle.
No, I don't even know how he met her. I don't even know where. I mean, I don't know where he met her from. I don't even know. He told me where he met her from. I mean, he may have told me.
We're talking a lot real
not
fast.
Ringing a bell. And there was many others.
You know.
I'm going to show Tiffie a picture of Russell Williams in his bikini attire.
Oh dear God.
Russell made a habit of collecting undergarments from the women that he assaulted.
Wait, there's a movie about him.
Oh, I bet.
I saw it. Yes, I saw it. Okay.
All right. Yeah, so he made a habit of that and took a picture of himself in every outfit in like the exact same pose. So we'll have to visit Russie Boy next time. That's a great interview.
There was other people that knew other people, you know, that were friends of everybody's. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the...
All right, we're going to pick up right here.
Yeah, we'll pick up there next time. Some of Sherry's friends have said that they had a problem.
I don't know what that could have been about.
Yeah, we'll see if Stephanie fesses up to that next time, or if she just does more blustering and faces.
Yeah, she is squirming. Yeah.
All right. If you've enjoyed tonight's squirming and face making, please hit thumbs up and consider subscribing. We also have a membership program. If you go to the membership tab on our homepage, you can see the good details there.
Even more of us, yeah.
Even more of us than you ever wanted. Yeah. So,
This.
Hang on.
You're starting it over.
Sorry about that. Yeah. And Bright Sun, thank you for being here tonight. And we will catch you on Friday.
Friday.
Is today Tuesday?
Today is Tuesday.
All right. We'll see you all Friday on Absolutely Criminal. Love you guys. Bye.